This is my final overall evaluation for Unit 7. So to start off with, I'm going to start off with pre-production. So in the pre-production, I feel it went pretty good. I explained everything, I completed everything that we needed to do. At the very start, I did get a bit stuck. Like there was a little problem there because I couldn't think of anything, like any ideas to do. And then me and Archie started discussing some ideas, and he had a really good one of the Disappointment podcast. But that was the only problem in pre-production, I feel like. Yes, I helped with some of the pre-production. I helped a little bit with it, with like the location recce's got because I was set designer. I had to make sure that the location risk assessment sheets and stuff were correct with like what's the hazards and stuff. But other than that, Jacob and Zoe took over that and completed the rest. Next, what I did was the flats. I had to get the flats to make our set, and we had quite a lot of problems with these. First, we had to go down to the drama studio and organise when we could use them. Once we did that didn't take long. It took like a couple days. But once we were able to use them, and she said which ones we could take, like without the door frames and window frames in them, we took the first two down to the design area where we were going to paint them. We started off, we were going to grab the second two as well, so that we had four altogether to build the set. We were going to do that, but then there was a pantomime kind of play thing on for a primary school that was visiting the theatre. So we couldn't do we had to wait a while to do that because we couldn't get them out unless we took them through the stage. So we had to wait for that to finish. Then once we finished that, or once the drama or the performing arts students finished that, we went to backstage, and we were going to take them through the art theatre, but then we didn't know how we'd get them out because there's a double door going into the theatre, but then it's only a single door getting out. We didn't want the struggle, so we took the double doors outside of college, or the fire exit to go outside of college, or the teacher to open it up, and then we carried it all the way around the college to the design area. Whilst we were waiting for the second two flats to be available to get, we were painting the first two. The problem with one of the flats was it was used for a crime board, so it had big thick lines on with letters to show the heights and stuff. When we were painting over that, it didn't really go away, so we kind of had that as a layered over, but you could faintly see it. And then the second board was fine. There's nothing on there. It's just a couple of screws in the middle that was just a bit obvious, but we didn't really bother about them. We then had to manoeuvre them round the college, through the cafeteria, or not, it's the cafeteria underneath our room, and then up the stair. We had to take the flats up the stairs to get them into the green screen room, because we had no other way. That was a big problem because it took too long, and then there was people needing to go past, so we had to wait for them to do it. Once we did that, we then had to go back out and paint the 3rd and 4th flat that we got, and we had to do the same with them. The problem with the 4th flat was there was a hole it was like a bit broken in it, and it was like a dent. But we didn't really bother with that because it's called the Disappointment Podcast. It was meant to be disappointing, so we decided to leave that in. I tried my best to paint over it though. I was like getting in the dent, so it was like still white and wasn't like bright green what it was before. Once we finished with all that, we had to then take them to back up to the green screen room. That also took a long time. Once we had them in there, we then had to figure out how to set the we then had to work out how to do the stage design that I made. It didn't go too great because there was like the lights in the way that we couldn't take the lights down either. So we had to lay them flat and then lift them up long ways. And when we did this, we got one up and then realised we had to screw them together so they would stand up, because otherwise there would have been a gap in the middle and it wouldn't have worked. So we then had to go down back to the workshop or design work area where we painted and asked the teacher if he was able to come and screw, or if we could use hinges and his drill to put them together. We spent quite a long time trying to do that, because we had to do it for the first two and then stand them up into position, and then we had to do it for the second two, and we had a problem with the hinge. It wasn't like we did two of the screws and we tried doing the third, but it wasn't going all the way in because it kept getting stuck on the hinge or on the the screw kept getting stuck on the hinge. So we had to only use two for that and be very careful when we were putting them together. But once we set the stage up, we then finished for the day and then went back in the next morning and started filming. We had a problem with the lighting while setting up the set. The lighting we had was leaving a shadow on the green screen which we had behind, which we're going to have our backdrop on. So we tried moving our flats forward a bit so there was a gap behind and having lights shine behind, but then that didn't work either because it was then too bright on the green screen. So we had to use the interior lights instead of the floodlight kind of things, which it wasn't great lighting, but it worked better than the floodlights. During the podcast was great. I didn't see any problems. We took a zoetrope, or I think it was called a zoetrope, and took the flat bit on the bottom and took the outside ring off and made it our spinning wheel. But when we got the work design teacher to build us a rotation kind of thing so we can put it on the wall to spin it, and we had our names on it to see who would tell the embarrassing story. When we were doing this, just before we started the podcast, we span it 6 times and every single one landed on Ben. So there was a bit of a weight on the bottom which was causing it to land on Ben. So when we were filming, Archie decided to spin it and hold it on a different name so it wasn't. Yeah, Archie. Recording was too long. Archie decided to hold it so that it wouldn't constantly land on Ben. This is so everyone had a chance to call out or say their embarrassing story. Other than everything that happened with the flats and pre-production, I didn't really get involved that much, but I did some. I helped with the stage. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. A couple of problems we had was the flats and the time scheduling. Time scheduling we had a problem with because the other group wanted to rehearse on Monday, and then it was us rehearsing on Tuesday, and then them filming on Wednesday, and then us filming on Thursday. They were still stage designing on Monday, so they didn't rehearse then. They were also painting their table. So Tuesday they did rehearsals, which stopped us from doing our rehearsals. Then Wednesday, I think Wednesday they were still painting, I think, and we had to fix our stage together. We've put our flats together and bolted the spinning wheel on the flat. Then Thursday, because we set up our stage, we filmed Thursday morning, and then the other group had to film after us. But that was the only problem with timing. Everything else was scheduled well. We did team meetings pretty much every week. Or we did do it every week. We did like a couple, sometimes more than one a week. And then we did a final overall team meeting to see how we all felt it went and see what our opinions of it was. So yeah, everything was good. Didn't really have a problem with it because I was stage designing and I was a presenter, so that's not a big challenge for me being a presenter because I like doing acting and stuff. I think if we were to do it again though, I feel like we can make this set a lot better, and we could have had a different area for the spinning wheel because we had it on the same flats as our actual main seating area that we're all sat. But other than that, I feel the backdrops as well. We had one backdrop which was kind of like bright blue with the Disappointment podcast written on it. I feel like that could have been better as well. Like I made that because it was like last second kind of thing we had to do because we didn't have we completely forgot to make backdrops. Well, there's another problem. Yeah, we completely forgot to make backdrops, so I had to make one last minute. We decided to do a blue because there wasn't very bright colours on there. On our set it was a black table with white walls and then like a couple of drawings that we did like last minute as well. But yeah, other than that I think they're the only things that I would do better if we were to do it again. But yeah, that's my final evaluation. Bye.